Oh, it was a good little warm up, don't worry.
Right. Okay then. Do you want to get
Hello,
started?
brothers. I want to talk to you a little bit about Jesus. Yeah, sorry, I always wanted to do that. I sort of imagined this Christian show.
You know, like Eddie Murphy out of Trading Places. Or James Brown in the Blues Brothers.
Well, I was watching this, as we're on November 3rd, the election in America, I was watching this news item on Channel 4, and the journalist went into a local radio station somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky or some middle of it. It's a very heavy Christian sort of area.
Yeah.
And he's presented with this voice like...
The black fella?
No, it was a white bloke, but this voice like Tom... What's the famous singer with that very whiskey voice?
Tom Jones?
No, well, yeah, that's the one, Tom. No, Tom, the American bloke.
Tom Waits?
Tom Waits, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, this husky was. And he's giving all this about Jesus, and I thought, is he putting this on? Because it sounds beautiful, but are you doing this every day?
One of them voices that's fag rough. You know, and whiskey rough. You know, a cigarette. It looks like he's been chugging back 40 a day.
He were a baby, on the cigars in the pram, with a whiskey bowl next to him.
But you'd listen to you see, that's why I think religion's gone tits up in the UK, because if you had one of those fellas, you know, that you see in these Baptist church, these black Baptist church that were praying for... I would have gone to church to watch that.
It looks quite fun.
Yeah.
I've seen it on TV. They'll have a bit of a sing-song and a dance, and it looks great fun, yeah.
I wonder, like with the election tomorrow, I mean, I'm not even American, and I don't think I could deal with 4 more years of that man. And it's nothing to do with me.
Man,
it's nothing to do with me.
Well, I mean, it will impact all our lives. His policies, you know, go over the world. What they decide in Yankland.
That my broker sent me an email yesterday, and he said,
"Brace yourselves.
Look, make sure you've got enough funds in your account, just to cover it in case your shares go into negativity." I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah.
So I've had to throw another £500 in, which I should be all right with that. But come on, really?
£500? Well, that's going to break the world economy.
Well, it is. I'm going to crash it. But you know, imagine if they vote him in, it's going to crash.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of theories about this, and there always are. But this one does seem to be a bit immense.
I mean, did you see the Trumpists surrounding Biden's bus?
Yeah, classic. Yeah.
And then he says, "I love the people of Texas."
Oh, but there are so many of those glorious moments.
And in
when he's attacking the Antifa, he's pronouncing it in a different way every time.
And in Pennsylvania, you've got those naked votes where you put your vote in an envelope, and then you've got to put it in another privacy envelope and then send it off. But if you don't put it in the second envelope, those ballots get discarded.
Right.
So what the Republicans did was they did a survey and found out who was voting by post the most, and Democrats outweighed Republicans 3-1.
Oh yeah.
So they got the judges in, and the judges ruled that if it's only in one envelope, those votes are going to get discounted, and it's too late to apply again.
Oh.
So that's one way to cheat.
Well, it's the good old American election. It's just some of the times. There's always been cheating going on. Apparently, the 1800s were pretty rough as well, with technology being zero at that time. But it's just modern day cheating, isn't it? And that'll always continue.
But it was saying, if I lose, I'm going to have to leave the country.
Who did?
Trump.
Oh yeah, I heard that comment. But what do you think he's going to?
Well,
where's he going to go?
If he doesn't, he's going to have lawyers on his back for the rest of his life.
If he doesn't, he's lied about so many things. Do you think he's not going to lie about that point?
If he wins again, right? Statute of limitations. Have I got that right?
Yeah. About what? Which crime?
Well, all of them. If he gets another 8 years, they can't charge him for anything that he's done.
Oh, really?
But if he gets kicked out after this 4 years, he's in front of firing squad. If he gets another 4 years, all that runs out, and he's got away with it.
carte blanche again.
Yeah. So he's got a clean slate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope. Just for that sake, I'd like to see him.
But I just want the smile wiped off his face.
Well, he had that a few weeks ago when he came back from some place. Where was it? And only half the place, or a third of the place was full. And he came back out of the helicopter looking like a boy just been slapped on the arse with his tie off. I like that moment.
But that's it, really, isn't it? That's the only time he's looked despondent.
Yeah.
But I just want him to. I just want him to lose. I just want him to lose. I mean, I don't care what happens to America. I just want him to lose.
Yeah. What do the people of Bradford think about this?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, because
A swing place.
well, they're going into lockdown until December the 2nd.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we
I
haven't
was
thought
speaking
about
to
that.
my dad today, and he was saying, well, not really changes for my dad, but he was saying, yeah, everybody's getting locked down till December the 2nd, if not longer.
Yeah, I mean Holland's is getting a bit stricter this week again. But yeah, I was getting emails from mates, and they can't go on the piss for, I think, another couple of weeks. Yeah, I think we're on the same wavelength. I think it's 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
But then Gove hinted in an interview that it might be longer, might be in January, February even. Spain was announcing to May, possibly. Well, would you believe it? I just walked the entire length of the beach here, and the temperature was 20 degrees, and it was quite full at the beach.
Yeah.
I just want to rub that into the people who are listening to us who are on lockdown.
November 3rd in Japan is a national holiday. So,
Yeah, that's true.
So we've all had a day off. I've worked. Are you working?
Yeah, I was up at 5 a.m. Thank God most of the people I work with have a holiday, so they didn't want to wake up that early, so I was pretty quiet.
So nobody turned up?
I think 2 people turned up out of the 8 that I had to work
And you
with.
got paid?
Yeah, I mean, that's... But I still had to be online.
Yeah.
But I was there with a sandwich and a cup of coffee and the news.
Yeah, I did a wedding today, just the one.
Your own?
No, somebody else's. And then I went out of the door 10:30, and then got home. I got the kids to film me doing an introduction, because I've been there's a company in China that will pay 2,600 an hour for business classes.
That will pay.
That will pay.
It sounds like a Mexican. Senora, va pay.
So they will give us 2,600 an hour for business English classes, and they provide all the materials.
Oh, online?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was looking for some of those gigs, because I did hear that these days the Chinese were paying more than the Japanese for online lessons, and as we're pretty much on similar timelines, but that could be done anywhere in the world.
Well, I was reading up about reviews, and it were mostly people in America. So they're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to teach them, because it's the afternoon in China. And then they were staying up every Friday and Saturday night, all night, teaching weekend lessons to people in China. And some of them were making $4,000 a month, which is 400,000 yen, isn't it? About there or thereabouts.
Well, I'll make that roughly out of that.
But that's just online lessons through the night.
Well, that's my morning's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm on 3-4, so 30. Wait, hang on. What did you say? $2,500?
$26 an hour.
So 26.
2,600 yen
per hour. Oh, that's not good at all.
Well, what are you getting an hour for your
34.
online?
Yeah, 50 minutes.
Is that your company or somebody else's?
No, somebody else's. I can't believe. I mean, they're paying a lot. I know that I've seen their fees, what they have to pay. Anyway, this topic must be boring for our listeners.
Yeah, boring me.
Now, today is a bit of a special day because, well, someone's passed away. Connery's passed away. We've lost James Bond.
Hang on. Give her a break. And off you go, because I'll put some Bond music in there.
All right. Did you hear that, listeners?
Yeah. And probably get us ripped off Spotify.
Sean Connery passed away. I saw the news, well, not as it happened, but I saw the break. I was on the BBC by chance, and it said breaking news, Connery just died.
Yeah.
I think you mailed me sort of 10 seconds after.
Yeah,
He just died!
Because we were on about, you were on about Connery, maybe a couple of...
It came up, and I made a very grave error, saying that he was a dustman.
You were a milkman.
No, yes, he was a milkman. I made a mistake saying he was a
He
dustman.
was a binman, yeah.
He was on the bins. Yeah, he was. He was a milkman. Yeah.
But not a qualification to his name.
Yeah, but he's 90. So in those days, what do you got? And he was in Edinburgh.
In Edinburgh, in a rough part of Edinburgh, and then you see when you're in places,
High school of life.
when you're in places like that, especially Glasgow as well, it's a Glasgow's rougher than Edinburgh. Have you been to both?
Glasgow is one of the roughest places.
Have you been? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Have you been? You've been to Edinburgh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is there a rough city in Holland?
Yeah, Rotterdam.
Rotterdam.
Or part of the Hague. But
So-
yeah, well, it's a harbour town,
Yeah.
so you get the old...
So Rotterdam is the Glasgow to Amsterdam's Edinburgh, but
Yeah.
worse.
Well, Edinburgh is a city of culture, but then so was
Glasgow smiles better.
Glasgow.
But there was that Glasgow smiles better. They had Mr. Happy, and Glasgow smiles better. And then I remember seeing somebody had just done a Glasgow smile on the Mr. Man, because that's what they're doing in Glasgow. They'll get a Stanley knife and cut the side of your mouth.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Now, Edinburgh, where there's the castle, right?
Yeah, but living up there, especially in Glasgow, you see all these ships coming in from all over the world.
Oh, there's ships
And people will look up at especially men will look up at these flags from all over the world and think, right, Billy Connolly said it best. He said, I used to see these ships and think to myself, there's all these countries that I can go and get pissed in. And that's one of the reasons he got out.
Connolly, oh, that's another one. Connolly,
Yeah.
Connery. He was announced having dementia as well. Billy Connolly.
Parkinson's.
Oh, I was doing Parkinson's.
He's not got dementia.
Parkinson's. Then.
Apparently he's still sharp as a tack, but his body's failing him.
Connolly.
Billy Connolly, yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember
Yeah.
Pamela Stevenson announced that on the news. Yeah.
If you go onto YouTube, and I would recommend it to anybody that's listening, and you type in Billy Connolly's and Billy Connolly gives Sean Connery his BAFTA,
Oh, really?
and it is hilarious.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He said
I'll
he's
take a look.
one of my heroes, and I want, because it's the BAFTA, I wanted to cut it down to the short version, which is basically, well done Baldy, I wish I had your money. And then he spots him in the crowd and goes, oh shit. But yeah, it's hilarious.
I'll take a look. I admire both very much. Yeah.
But when Sean Connery wasn't my Bond, he wasn't the Bond I grew up with, but I kind of appreciated who he was.
But when so you grew up with Roger Moore.
Roger Moore, yeah.
But at that time, so we're talking 80s.
Yeah.
Did you see the earlier Bonds? I suppose that'd be video, VHS.
There would have been on. I remember it must have been around 74 or 75, maybe 76. I saw Goldfinger on telly, but it was in black and white. And Sean Connery walked into the bedroom and there's that woman dead who was covered in gold, but she was just covered in grey because it was a black and white TV.
Goldfinger in black and white.
Yeah. But I found that very scary.
Well, there were all those rumours later that she died.
Yeah, because you're supposed to leave a space in the small of your back so your skin can breathe.
I remember seeing that on, I think it was Discovery Channel, the Hoax Busters or whatever it's called, and it was proven to be totally one of those urban legends, creating a myth. Because that woman had a great career, and I think she died at 95 or something.
But I remember that one, and then he came back, didn't he, in 83 or something?
I think it was 82, because Octopussy was 83.
Right.
So it must have been just before that, maybe
Right.
82, 81, yeah. What was the name of the Bond that he did? Oh, wasn't it Never Say...
You Only Live Twice.
Oh, was that it? Yeah. I'm getting my names mixed up a bit. But yeah, he did one film again.
Yeah.
I wonder what the paycheck was for that. He must have been offered a
Well,
shitload of money.
I think it was something like I'm sure I read 7 million back then.
Yeah, that's, you can't say no to that. And well, can't say no to it
Because
now.
he didn't want to.
He hated it apparently.
Yeah,
From what
didn't want to go back.
What I heard on interviews later, he didn't like it at all, and he was getting on a bit. I think he was in his 40s, maybe even early 50s at that time.
Well, when he won the Oscar in '87 or '88, it was 56.
Untouchables.
Yeah. Now, The Untouchables has a place in my heart because it was I'd left home in September '87. It must have been Christmas '87 because it was the first time I come home. And my mum had gone out in car and my dad said...
Out in the car?
Out in car because she just passed a
Whose
test.
car?
My dad, we were a one-car family.
The car?
The car.
Alright.
So my dad said, Untouchables is on at IMAX because we've got an IMAX in Bradford. You believe that? Cause
in the 90s?
80s.
That technology wasn't around
Yes,
then.
it was. We've got the National Museum of Film, Photography and Television is in Bradford. And there's a big building at the bottom of Manchester Road and it's curved. The building's curved on the outside for the IMAX screen.
Right, yeah. Right.
So we went down there and we walked into town. And we'd eaten, me and my dad had gammon and eggs before we walked into town.
What's gammon and eggs?
Like a big thick piece of pork.
Gammon?
Gammon.
Pork?
Yeah.
Right.
But we call it, a pork steak is called gammon. No? You never heard that before?
No, is that a Bradford expression?
No, it's a British expression. You've never heard of gammon?
Gammon? No.
Yeah. Anyway,
Right.
very salty, so we were spitting feathers by the time we got there. He had a dry mouth.
Okay, yeah.
It's an idiom. So it come on and the trailers were small.
Alright.
And I thought, oh, what a waste of money this is. And then Untouchables came on, boom, and
Yeah.
it were on. And we watched it, and that was the standout performance.
Yeah, the trailers are always on the little screen, and then
Yeah.
the screen opens up to...
It were amazing. It were amazing. And then watch that, and it was the first time I'd seen The Untouchables. I've seen it since, and it's a good film, but it'll never top watching it on IMAX. Ever.
That was quite a good picture. It's a timepiece,
Mm.
so it's got all those costumes and colours and the shootings.
But
And,
him trying to do that Irish accent and then slipping back into the Scottish, because he was very comfortable. I mean, you might not have noticed, but the
well-
connoisseurs did.
like you.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite hard for him because he's so famous for his accent.
Yeah,
It's quite difficult to... Whatever he's going to pull off, it's going to be taken apart
Yeah.
and analysed. So he's never going to be able to do anything else.
I mean, when he were in Highlander, I think he was one of the few cast members that didn't do the Scottish accent.
Highlander?
And he were up in Scotland. Highlander. What?
The
Highland.
Island is an island. You're
Yeah.
an islander.
Splitting hairs here.
I remember that movie very well because after that came out, because there's a Duncan MacLeod.
Is it?
Yeah, because my name's Duncan, so I got this at school the whole time. Duncan MacLeod, Duncan MacLeod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because were he Conor MacLeod or the Clan MacLeod? The Christopher Lambert.
I guess so, yeah.
Or Christophe Lambert.
Well, his accent was not the best Scottish accent.
But he's
Yeah.
French, isn't he?
Yeah.
But it was a good film, that.
That was good. It was a good adventure.
They shouldn't have gone in. Did Highlander 2 and Highlander 3?
I remember seeing it in one of in Holland. We have the Weekend of Terror, and you have 4 horror movies in a row
Yeah.
from midnight until 6 a.m. 2 nights in a row. One of them was Highlander 27 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So there was a long spin-off series of that, unfortunately. But then, why wouldn't there be? It's America, so they're gonna.
But after 007, Name of the Rose? When he was that monk with Christian
Oh
Slater?
yeah, Christian. I was going to say Bale, but no, it's Slater. Yeah, Slater.
Yeah. That was a good
Slater.
film.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
I enjoyed that film. And then Medicine Man.
Yeah,
see
that was
that?
good. Yeah. He did that crappy Indy Jones film.
Yeah, he
Didn't like
played
that.
his dad, didn't he?
Yeah.
Played Harrison Ford's dad. And then the last film we did, The League of Extraordinary
Yeah.
Gentlemen. What a load of shit that was.
Well, I quite enjoyed it because it was such a nonsense film, but
Yeah.
he was livid about everything in that film. Well, that's one of the things that I want to talk about. I've seen interviews with him from a very early age. There's some footage on YouTube which I do recommend looking up, and it's black and white. And I think he's doing one of those very early. What's it called? Not Whose Line Is It Anyway, but it's those American TV shows, black and white, 1950s, and you got to guess the person's profession.
Right.
And he's on it,
Mm.
and he's got to be 25 or so, whatever he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is the quality of the film is so bad, and you can see it's really early stuff. But then you got that to his last interviews where he's half lost his mind, and everything in between. And so you see him on YouTube. You can see him, in every phase of his life, growing. And the older he gets, the more outspoken he becomes, and the more bitter he becomes, I feel. And so when he gets into that 50s, 60s, 70s, he's more critical about other things and life and bits and pieces. And he's a huge hero of mine. His films are some classic films that he's done. The Man Would Be King.
Yeah.
I saw that as a kid, and it had a huge impact on me. I never saw the ending until 10 years later. I had to go to bed. My mum made me to go to bed. Saw the ending about 10 years later when I was maybe 20. But to see this legend of a man sort of slowly get into a bitter old grandfather criticizing everything in the world, and you think, okay, that's what we're all going to be. That's age, right? And then seeing him losing his mind. There's an interview, which we talked about this before, where he can't answer questions anymore, and the nurse steps in. So
how long ago was that?
Well, it must have been his last couple of interviews, because the nurse steps in and says, I think, he needs a little break here. And he's got that stare of, what the hell's going on here? And so to see someone from being in his 20s to being this hero and the superstar, and to see him sort of become this decrepit character is heartbreaking. You don't want to see that. But that's the reality of stuff. And it also makes you realise your own age, of course. Yeah, we're all getting older.
He did that interview because he was accused of hitting his first wife, wasn't he?
Oh, that's right.
And then he said something like,
nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes it's deserved.
Yeah, nothing wrong with hitting a woman sometimes.
And he got a load of shit for it, but then it sort of brushed off, didn't it?
I think that was too early for the current climate. So he wasn't jumped on as he would have been now.
Yeah. Because I'll come back to Connery, but that lad from Kasabian, the singer from Kasabian, he's been battering his wife and they've kicked him out of the band, never to return. Oh. Now, I wonder if Connery would have got any more roles if he'd have been saying stuff like that nowadays.
Yeah, because he said it openly, didn't he?
Yeah. But it's like I said, with what I saw when I grew up with my grandparents, that's how it was. That's probably what he saw back when he were growing up 80, 70 years ago in Edinburgh. Yeah.
Well, go back 100 years.
Yeah.
See how families were treating each other then. Get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah.
Kids, parents, that was a normal way of life. Much tougher. Yeah, so things change. It's hard to... The argument stands with many topics.
Yeah.
If you make the topic heavier, going with slavery, going with owning people, or...
But if you just stick to his body of work, it were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun.
And I enjoy the fact that it's somebody that comes from nothing doing it, rather than somebody who had a famous dad.
You can identify with that, can you?
Well, yeah. because I mean,
come from nothing.
Connery had one kid, and it were Jason Connery, and I think the most notable thing he did, he played Robin Hood in a TV series in the 80s, and that was it. That's all they did.
Oh, I know someone who was in that TV series, the Name Dropper.
Yeah.
Oh, whenever you meet this person, he will tell you he was a child actor, and
who's that?
I can't tell you this, but I'll tell you later.
Right.
It's
but that's the only thing that Jason Connery did, apart from, do you know, Sean Connery's sister-in-law is the female lead in Ferris Bueller. Do you know that?
Right, yeah. I was in love with her. When
she married Connery's son.
Oh, okay.
They're divorced now, but she was fucking smoke show, wasn't she, back then?
Yeah. I don't know much about it. It's always been very private about.
Yeah, well, that's it. He were able to keep it private, wasn't he?
God knows how.
Because he moved in 2006 after he did that Extraordinary Gentleman film. He only did a voiceover for something like, I think it was called Sibyl, and it were an animation, and that's the only thing he did between then that film and when he died. So he'd been retired 2006, 14 years.
Did he do that dragon voice?
That would be before 2006.
Okay, yeah.
But so he got a good 14 years retirement in the Bahamas with his
Barbados or something.
Nassau.
He he was an avid painter. Apparently, did a lot of painting.
But you see his second wife, and she's old, but she looks like she was an absolute stunner when she was younger. You know, with those old people that still have got that kind of look.
No.
That they were beautiful. If you look online and see his
seen
wife.
her.
But don't you think, looking at how old she is now, back 40, 50 years ago, she would have been stunning?
No.
No? You don't see that.
Maybe you have some sort of power over this guy.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But he was saying that what's it like to be retired? Should have done it sooner. Because he was just hanging out with Bob Monkhouse.
Oh right.
Because Bob Monkhouse lived in Bahamas as well. They were just them two hanging out together, and then Monkhouse died, got prostate cancer. He died.
Yeah, I remember that a couple of years back. Yeah. I remember Spike Milligan always making jokes about Bob Monkhouse, how bad he was. But apparently they were quite good friends as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw his live stuff. It's quite funny, got to say. Not a huge depth to him, but he did make me laugh.
But all that stuff back then, it was good comedy.
Yeah,
it was good comedy.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So now, what is there left now? Lazenby's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the first one to go.
So Connery, Lazenby, Roger Moore. So there's only 3 left, isn't there?
Roger Moore, Dalton, Pierce Bronson, Daniel Craig.
Brosnan.
What did I
Bronson.
say?
Bronson? Charles Bronson.
Oh. Well, he died as well. Charles Bronson.
But Timothy Dalton, I think that first car.
He's alive.
Yeah. But that first car chase on his first movie around Rock of Gibraltar, and then the Land Rover goes off the cliff while he's fighting with that fella. He pulls the cord on his parachute. It drags him out of the back of that Land Rover, and then he lands on the roof of that boat, and he rolls over, and then there's that fucking stunning Bond girl, and he calls in where he is, and he said, "Give it an hour," and then off he goes. Do you remember that Bond girl in Gibraltar?
Not really, no.
Beautiful, dark, and she had this white bikini. Oh. So
now, you could see that she was beautiful 50 years ago.
But that one, Dalton wasn't 50 years ago.
With your skills, your special set of skills.
But I think Dalton, he was the Shakespearean actor.
He was a classic actor. I don't know why he took that role.
And he was the best actor in what is it? Those
tiny theatre. My dad took me to that theatre, and it's whatever it is, a 200-seater, very small local theatre where he started. Age 13 as an apprentice.
So your dad didn't do any acting?
No, he was
just a stagehand.
Yeah, stagehand. Started at 13, and then so he built his way up to manager of lighting, and then became creative director of the stage design. And when he was 25, he was sort of at the peak of his profession there. So he moved to the Royal Opera House and the Royal Ballet Company and the Royal Shakespeare Company. Toured the world with all kinds of people in his 60s. Yeah, Maria Callas. He was with Charlie Chaplin. He's got a picture with Chaplin. Yeah. Because his daughter was in a play that my dad designed a stage for, so he came to offer some advice a couple of nights.
But I think Daniel Craig is my favourite.
Yeah, let's go back to the one. Yes, now, up to now, Craig is definitely the best, I think, but then that's also a sign of changing of the...
I think Brosnan were a placeholder. Brosnan were a placeholder because he were alright. But
Yeah,
Daniel Craig, I think after the Bourne series, I think the people realised that the Bond is going to have to up its game.
Yeah, there's a massive difference. If you see any fight scene of Roger Moore in his blazer,
when you see that Daniel Craig one, which was the first one where he's tied to that chair and he's getting that thing whacked against his bollocks.
Oh yeah, nasty
You're like,
stuff.
fucking Jesus. Casino Royale, was that?
I think so, yeah, or maybe the follow-up. But yeah, no, that's a great series. That chasing scene he's got with the
when
black
that Aston
bloke.
Martin rolls,
Oh, that's a different one. Oh, maybe that's the same one. Yeah, that's Casino Royale. Yeah.
And then also, that black. They're doing the free running, the parkour thing.
Yeah.
Parkour.
Ends up in the embassy. I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
that's a great opening scene.
Yeah.
That's probably the best opening scene to any Bond movie, I think.
Yeah, they must have planned that for months and months.
There's some English fellas, a YouTube channel called Storror, STORROR, and they've just had the 10th anniversary. But they go all around world doing this free running.
All around what?
All around world doing this free running.
Oh, I think I saw that on the Beeb. Yeah.
Yeah, and
5 or 6 of them.
They've been doing stuff for the fellow that directed Transformers.
All right. Yeah.
But they were in Japan.
Oh.
I tell you, they were in Japan, and they were swinging on a signpost, and it was an old rotted signpost, and they pulled it down, and there must have been about 15 or 20 policemen turned up.
Yeah, that's Japan.
But that free running and Daniel Craig is just brilliant, and that one in Mexico City where he's going to do that assassination, and that's all in one take.
Yeah.
When he walks through that is brilliant.
That
and
massive
it's one
arena,
take. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time and money on those opening ones.
Yeah.
That's what the audience expects. So as Craig is retiring, this is his last one, right?
The trailer of this next one doesn't look that good.
Well, I'm trying to avoid seeing the trailer. I want to see it.
It's
fresh.
The fella who played Freddie Mercury is the baddie.
Yeah. Malek.
Yeah.
Rami Malek.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, great act, very nice. Yeah. Now the follow-up, the names that were tossed around, Clive Owen.
I think he's past it now. That was before Daniel Craig went in. Daniel Craig got it. Did you see Daniel Craig in Layer Cake?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what got him the gig.
Oh, really?
That film. Yeah. Oh. That's what got him the gig.
Another name was Idris Elba.
Idris Elba would be
great. That'd be really cool. Now you say, I didn't hear this confirmed, but you said it was Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
How would he be?
I think he's the best. I think he's fun. Everything he touches turns to gold.
Yeah, but he's always sort of the same kind of hard man, nut job.
You seen him in Peaky Blinders?
Yeah, of course.
Fucking brilliant in that.
Yeah, but again, he's always sort of this. I find him very same in every character. This sort of mysterious, half mad, tough.
Did you see him playing Cray Twins?
Yeah.
It's almost comical that one.
Well, again, a half mad, tough guy. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a film where he isn't that. Where was he not a tough, half mad, creative?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to rein it in a bit, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the next Bond's going to be like. Whether he's always evolving.
The Revenant, he was good in that.
Oh yeah.
He was such.
I think he played a tough sort of a half mad guy in that one. Yeah, that was very different.
Fucking crazy in that film.
Yeah, I sense a sort of.
Well, you don't know how it played, because when I saw that they'd picked Daniel Craig, we were like, well, how's this going to be?
Mm.
Daniel Craig were also in a movie, 2 movies, and there's one about him there's a ballooning accident, and this fella dies in this ballooning accident, and what's that Welsh fella called that was a colossal pisshead in the 90s?
Richard Burton?
No. He's our age.
Oh.
A Welsh fella. He were in that Hugh Grant film.
Tom Jones?
No, he were in that Hugh Grant film with Julia Roberts.
Oh, the blonde,
what's his name?
Oh no, don't.
What's his name? Anyway, he's in a film with Daniel Craig. There's a ballooning accident, and Daniel Craig and this fella are on the scene first, and then he starts stalking Daniel Craig. It's a brilliant film.
Oh, yeah.
You're not seeing it then?
No.
That's a good film you should watch. So he did that film, and then he did another film where Daniel Craig ends up banging this 70-year-old.
Nice.
And it's about the affair, and Daniel Craig is called Darren in this film, and there's never really been a lead actor called Darren
For obvious reasons.
It's such a chabby name. But that's a good film as well, and he did that while he was playing Bond. Anyway, we got off the subject a little bit.
I'm trying to think of another film Daniel Craig did. I think I saw him play a Russian in something else. But yeah, so best Bond for you?
Daniel Craig.
For sure, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Connery.
Yeah?
Such a... Yeah, you got to go back in time for that.
No,
you can't see it through the same... Well, you can't see it through the same eyes as now, because... I watched a fight scene this morning of Bond, Connery as Bond. I can't remember which one it was, but it looks ridiculous. It's laughable. But that's you got to, again, see it through the eyes of that time. And, and the inventions that he was using, that's your best you can make. So it's all a bit naff, but that was the shit, man, of those days. That was fantastic. So I'm going to go for Connery for the best one. Now, you know Alan Partridge is a big Roger Moore fan. And he tried to have him on the show, and he never makes it.
No. But, you see, going back to Tom Hardy, who else could you think of? I'd love it to be Idris Elba, but I don't think they'd have a black fella doing it.
What? Why not?
I've no idea, but I think it'd be great, but I don't think...
Oh, the Yanks wouldn't have it.
I don't think the worldwide audience would put up with a black fella doing James Bond, which is a terrible thing.
Maybe Americans would be a bit... Oh, here, slugging off Americans right now, but... Oh, I think in Europe you'd be okay.
In Europe you'd be okay, but I don't think...
The Americans aren't ready for a black Bond.
No. They've had the black president.
But he's popular. Idris is pretty popular in America.
Yeah,
he's done tons of stuff. Yeah. What was that show he did? The Wire. Was he in The Wire?
Yeah. But he was playing a negative character, wasn't he? He was playing a stereotypical character.
They don't want to have a British MI6.
They don't want to have a hero.
MI5 black man.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I would want him over Tom Hardy, but I think Tom Hardy's going to get it.
Oh, yeah. How sure are you on that?
Because Luther is brilliant.
Oh, it's an amazing show. Yeah.
I've recommended that to so many people who live in Tokyo, Americans, and they're like, "This is fucking brilliant."
Yeah, it's a very good show. But he's just a fantastic actor. That scary film he did in Africa, where he's leading this group of child soldiers.
Yes.
What's it called? The Beast or something?
I don't know, but I remember it.
Rough film, but he nails it.
I remember that rape scene, Jesus Christ, where they're stamping on the young kid while his mother's getting raped, and then to stop the rape, he goes into the bedroom, and she's getting raped on bed, and he just shoots the woman in the head. Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
Not a particular scene, but yeah, it's a rough film. Like.
Yeah, it didn't sit well. I had to think about that film for a while after.
African Beast, is that what it's called? Something.
It's got beast in it. Because they're getting the kids to do the killings, aren't they? They're blindfolding them, right? Pull the trigger, and they've got to shoot these.
Yeah, there's all sorts of horrid bits. I remember some of them wearing wedding dresses.
Yeah.
Because I think it gives them magical powers and all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Idris would be a great choice for Bond. I'd nominate him if I could. Yeah.
So if that's done with a 007 thing, do you know another notable from the British comedy scene that died this week same week as Sean Connery?
No.
You might not know him because you weren't living in England. Bobby Ball?
Oh, really?
Bobby Ball died.
I don't know who that is.
You don't?
No.
Cannonball were a double act in the 80s on TV. Huge.
Oh,
Huge.
yes, I do remember that.
Now, Tommy Cannon and Bobby Ball, right? Now, I'll always remember them being on TV, and they did pantomime in Bradford.
That must have been fantastic.
Right, and I went to see it twice. I got taken with school once, and then the second one, my dad worked for British Telecom.
Oh, you were punished?
And every year, they paid for kids to go to pantomime. So off we went, second time, and Bobby Ball had these braces, and it's like, rock on, Tommy, and he'd pull his braces out like that with his thumbs up, rock on, Tommy, and they were selling them after the show, and they had "Rock On Tommy" written on these braces, and there were one set left, and I think it were about 23rd of December, and there were two mothers that wanted to buy these braces for the kids for Christmas, and there were one set left, and a full-blown fight kicked off in the foyer.
Welcome to Bradford.
In the foyer of Alhambra, they were kicking the shit out of each other.
Two women.
Two
housewives.
And I remember the woman behind trying to stop it, going, "It's Christmas! It's fucking Christmas!" And they were fighting over a pair of braces.
Yeah.
Nobody wore braces in the 70s, in the 80s,
no.
and that's what rings true with me most. Yeah, so Bobby Ball died, and
but I do remember the TV show, yeah, because there were all these double acts. Well, it was quite popular, Little and Large.
Little and Large. He died recent as well.
Oh, did he?
Eddie Large, yeah.
But there were all these combos.
Eddie Large, Sid Little, Tommy Cannon, Bobby Ball, yeah. Les Dennis were a double act as well with a fella, and he died years before.
Russ Abbott.
Russ Abbott.
Because that's where Les Dennis, I think, started.
No. Russ Abbott's still alive, but
No, he's not. I think he died.
are you sure?
Pretty sure. I think I remember reading the news that he.
But Les Dennis wasn't a double act with Russ Abbott. Les Dennis was on Russ Abbott's show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Les Dennis was on Russ Abbott's show with another fella who died, a sudden heart attack, and he died. And then Les Dennis took over Family Fortunes.
That's right. Yeah.
Which Family Fortunes, name something that's yellow, my cardigan. So that it always sticks with it.
I saw this other one this week. The kids have to answer something, and the guy says, "Well, what is a person who's considered yellow?" And the boy says, "Chinese." No, that's not right. And he goes to the next kid. "How about you?" And it's a Chinese little kid.
Yeah.
And he says, "Cowardly." That's right.
But yeah, everybody seems to be dropping like flies in the UK because Nobby Stiles went yesterday.
Oh, right. Oh.
2 days ago.
Nobby Stiles from the band.
Well, yeah, isn't it? That's Harry Styles.
Oh, is it?
Nobby Stiles, World Cup winner. Nobby
Oh,
Stiles.
right. I'm totally getting this wrong now. Well, yeah, you know your names there. I
But
know.
would you not have known who we were?
No.
Fancy. But yeah, he's the 7th person from the World
What did you
Cup.
fancy?
He
Fancy what?
Well, that's what you say. If somebody don't know something that you think they should know, fancy that.
Fancy what? I don't.
Well, fancy that you don't
You fancy
know.
something.
Fancy,
Somebody.
I can't believe you don't know. Fancy that. Maybe it's a northern thing.
Fancy
Like saying,
dress.
I'd go to the foot of our stairs. You know what that means? Well, I'll go to the foot of our stairs.
You had a drink
It means you're surprised at something.
at the foot of the stairs.
I'll go to the foot of our stairs, like the stairs in your house. You'll go to the bottom.
Speak English. You invented the bloody language.
Well, I will go to the foot of our stairs. So you would go to the bottom of the stairs in your house and look up, and that's something you'd say if you were surprised at something.
Why would you be surprised at the bottom of the stairs?
I don't know,
Are you looking up
you're looking up
an
right?
upskirt or
It
something?
You look up, don't you? You look up. If you're surprised, you'd look up. Oh, I'll go to the foot. I don't know. That's where it comes from, anyway. The fact that you don't know who Nobby Stiles is surprises me.
Well, why do you say that?
Fancy that. I'll go to the foot of our stairs. Right? Now, Nobby Stiles is the 7th person
Right.
from the England squad to have died. The 5th person out of the 7 that's died of dementia.
Oh, well, I saw the news this week that Charlton has dementia.
Yeah, so he's the 8th one.
And Gary Lineker made a comment saying, that's a bit odd, saying, what a shame or something. Well, not what a shame, he said something that I thought was a bit weird to say.
Well, he's worried because he fears that he might be going the same way.
Oh.
Because all heading at ball.
Oh, you think that's it?
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
Oh, right.
But you see, Gordon Banks had it, and he was keeper, so he wouldn't have headed the ball as much.
No, keepers
But
don't.
I remember when I was a kid. Now, my granddad used to have this football, and it were a 50s football. Now, during the war they built an air raid shelter at the end of the garden, and it were used for garden tools. And I remember it were built into back. My granddad had put grass around it and built it up, and then off he went to war. So when they were bombing Bradford, my nan used to run in there with 4 kids until the air raids had finished, and then come out. And in that shelter were an old football from 40s or 50s. And my granddad used to play football with me in the backyard. And I remember him saying, "Come on, we'll do some heading practice." And I were seeing stars after that, because it were damp in that area shelter. So it were a leather ball, and it were fucking heavy. I'd kick it and it'd only go a couple of centimetres. But he'd be throwing it for me to head, and I'd go, Jesus. And
that would do a bit of damage if you do that day in, day out for months on end.
But you think you're playing football with one of them in northern English weather on a Saturday afternoon, especially in the winter, and you're heading that ball many times a game, many games a season. It's like getting punched, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you'd think the ball wouldn't go very far that way. It wouldn't really travel that far into a goal almost. Yeah, it's a bit like the Americans have with that American football with the that concussion whole thing in the helmet, and they finally changed that because it was causing brain damage and what have you.
Have you watched that Aaron Hernandez documentary?
No.
You need to get into that. You need to. There's about 8 programs, episodes.
I haven't seen it. You're asking me.
There's about 8 episodes. Aaron Hernandez. He used to play for New England Patriots, right? He'd been playing his entire life, and he was gay, but he got married. He got a contract to New England. He had a kid. He had this massive house. Anyway, he had that. What do they call it? CTD? The brain trauma.
No idea.
Anyway, he murdered a fella.
Oh shit!
And then he were in Florida, and then he got into a load of shit in Florida, and then he got pally with this drug dealer, and apparently murdered 2 people. Got sent to prison, and then went in for his second trial. He got away with the second murder, and then this drug dealer wouldn't get him killed, and then it all started coming out that he was gay, and he killed himself in prison. And then when they gave him an autopsy, they looked at his brain, and he had the brain of an 80-year-old. And he was 27 years old. But all that brain trauma were causing him to go tits up. But that documentary is amazing.
Who is it by?
Aaron Hernandez, I think his name is.
Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah.
What about Hernandez?
What do you mean, what about Hernandez?
Well, Aaron and Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez.
Speak English, whatever you
I am speaking English.
You invented it. Well, it's election day as well. Let's move on to that. It's
speaking of brain injuries,
people who lost their minds. We've got 2 candidates. One of them's far gone, and the other one's not far behind.
Well, one of them's a doddering old fella who's kind of nice,
and Joe Biden,
who is busy trying to cover up for his crack smoking 40-year-old son.
Oh, sorry, what's the point of that? I don't see the point of involving family members into that kind of race. But yeah, all's fair in politics, I suppose.
But Trump bringing all that up, all Biden had to say was, well, yes, both of our children have got over addictions. I mean, your son had trouble with alcohol.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't bring it up. That's what I'd have done.
That was his brother who
No, but Don Jr. is a recovering alcoholic.
Oh.
And he could have brought that up.
Yeah, a little throwaway line. Yeah, we're both.
We are both fathers of sons with addictive personalities. Mine was crack, and your son was alcohol.
Yeah,
but I would have gone and turned the knife there.
Yeah. It's they always say we never sink as low as.
But you've got to with him because that's all Trump does. He's a bottom feeder, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to waltz all over you, which he has. But we'll find out in less than 24 hours.
What do you think? What is your gut feeling?
I think Biden's going to win it by quite a bit. It's going to be a very safe win. Yeah.
There were a professor, and he's called it right. every time, and he's
Yeah,
got
there's loads of these people.
There's these 13 keys,
Right.
and he said you're only really allowed to lose 5 of these keys, and safely get the country. But Trump's lost 7, so he's saying he's lost 7 of the 13, so he don't think he's got a chance.
So what do you think?
Of
all the news input that you've got,
I thought Hillary had got it.
Well, we all
you
did
see,
that.
a lot of them last time voted for Trump because they wanted Sanders, and Sanders got fucking raped in the ass, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Hillary went in, so they were voting for 2 people they didn't like. But I think now Biden's likable.
Well,
so I don't think Trump will get in, but I'm worried in case he does, because I don't think I can do another 4 years of this fool.
Well, if he does get in, it's another 4 years of just being shocked at the next unbelievable shit that comes out of his mouth.
Trump Jr. will throw his at him. Don Jr. will throw his at him, and then you've got another 8 years of that shit.
No. Yeah, I did see that. Someone put up a banner which said Don Jr. 2024. And he made a picture, put it on Twitter, and said, "Oh yeah, who knows? Or this will make the libs or the communists scared or some nonsense."
But he'd probably get Ivanka in as his
vice president.
Oh.
Well, you wonder how long the Americans can. You think a lot of Americans are just so stupid they'd vote for anybody who's popular, whether it's
Oprah.
Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Well, she
the Oprah Winfrey and The Rock.
Well, that or Kanye West.
Did you hear Kanye on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
He's not there, is he?
No, but he would get a percentage of the votes.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a number of people who just will vote for anything, whatever you put up. They'll say, "Oh, this is excellent news." But you'd hope that the majority will at least think, "Come on, we need someone serious here.
Yeah.
Someone who I don't want to have a pint with him. I just want him to get on with the country."
Do you think there are that many people that are going to vote for Trump, or do we just see? Is it just we get the only footage we're shown is of Trump supporters?
Yeah.
There can't be that many.
Well, there is a lot. I'd say there's over 40%, which is a lot. You're talking half the country. Well, almost half the country. But
really, really rich people are going to vote for Trump because of the taxes.
Yeah.
Even although they hate him.
Dave Chappelle had a lovely bit on that. He said, "He's not fighting for you, poor people. He's fighting for me."
Yeah.
And he's right. You know, if you're rich, you're going to vote for Trump. He's going to sort out your tax payments, unless you've got a conscience. And quite a few of those billionaires saying, "Look, I want to pay more tax. I want to pay into the system." But I suppose if you're that rich, you can do that.
50 Cent and Lil Wayne are voting for Trump because of that reason.
Wasn't it Ice Cube?
Yeah.
Or did Lil Wayne say that as well?
Yeah. Ice Cube got in touch with the Republicans and the Democrats to try and sort out this race thing. And the Republicans were the only ones that got back to him.
Yeah, there was a bit of...
The Democrats didn't get back.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Ice Cube's... I listened to him when I was a kid, I remember him very well. He came to Amsterdam.
Yeah?
Yeah, and way back. And there was a little interview on the streets, and I'm in the background waving. But this is really early days.
Yeah.
I don't know how he even got there. But he's just being interviewed in the street by this little bloke with a microphone.
Were they there with... No. Were they there with NWA?
I don't think so. I think he was on his own or meeting somebody. But Amsterdam is such a friendly little place.
Yeah.
There's not that sort of mobbing of people.
No security?
No, it was just him and this bloke in a camera. Just 3 people on the street on the VPRO. Very minor channel. But yeah, he was sort of semi-famous in those days, I suppose.
And not getting any shit whatsoever?
No.
Wow.
No. So, the election, we've got 24 hours, I suppose, till we know. Do you think they can call it before all the...
I don't know about all these posting votes. I don't know when them posting votes are getting counted. But Trump says... Trump's going to call it before the postal votes are counted.
Well, he's going to look like such a turd if he's
He
wrong.
has been looked like a turd for the last 4 years.
Something doesn't seem to bother him.
Does it?
Yeah.
He's not bothered.
Most people would feel quite stupid.
But if he
all.
loses, what damage do you think he's going to do between now and January 21st? Is it January 21st?
Somewhere along those lines.
January 20th?
Early January. Well, he can't do much, but he certainly would give it a good old whirl.
I just want him and Stephen Miller out. Just too racist.
Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller is bald. He went on TV with some spray hair on. Sprayed hair. It's spray on hair. He's married this another racist who took a trip down to the border just to see kids in cages. His wife went down just to see the kids in cages and then said, yeah, more of this.
Yeah, some people get off on that, right? They can see something like this is excellent stuff.
And I mean, he's Jewish, is Stephen Miller. He's Jewish. And he's
So what does
acting
that
like-
mean? Is it you can't have bad Jews? Is that what you're saying?
No, but he's so racist and he's so in bed with the Nazis and he's Jewish.
Well, you're going to have...
But you just know that he's...
Go to Israel, you're going to see some pretty rough Jews there as well who are against Palestinians.
Stephen Miller must be sat in front of the TV when he sees those kids in cages just pleasuring himself. Going, this is what we're... Because there's 500...
Look sad.
There's still 500 kids in America that were separated that they've got no idea where their parents are.
Well, it's not that big a number. I mean, they're making that into a very huge issue for publicity reasons, you know, which is good for them to use, good footage. But look at what's happening in America with the division of poor and rich. You're talking millions and millions of people who are just homeless, basically, living in conditions you wouldn't see anywhere else in the world.
Down in Venice, there were a woman that filmed the homeless people on the street, and for a mile and a half, she just put a phone out of the
Venice
window,
Beach.
Venice Beach, and filmed all the people, and it was just there was no gap on the pavement. There's just tents there.
Yeah,
in
you
Venice.
look, but that makes me not laugh, but it bewilders me how you. And then you go up to a Trump supporter or other Americans, and they say this is the greatest country in the world. You know, we've got it all. We don't want any of your socialism.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what it means? The word socialism. We don't want any of your taxes and look at your country. Look at what's happening.
Yeah.
You have homeless, like you say. That sounds horrible. What you just described.
Yeah.
I went to Cuba. I didn't see any homeless people in Cuba. Travelled to the supposed rough or poor areas, which to me looked really comfortable. Now, it's not a perfect country, but I didn't see any major drug problems or homelessness or anything like that. Well then...
Right, so the next podcast we have, we'll know who's president.
Yeah, we'll be either crying or crying very much.
Trump or Biden.
Yeah, I say...